So the Last Stand DLC came out after like 8 years of no updates, and with it came a significant amount of new content and changes. Is it good though? Let's tackle it one at a time. To start, the most obvious part is the campaign. It's a campaign version of the Last Stand survival map from Left 4 Dead 1. It is admittedly short, being only 2 maps long. The maps are admittedly long and winding, therefore having a decent amount of content in them. However, it's comparable to Crash Course. Now tell me, when's the last time you played Crash Course? Some of you probably don't even know what Crash Course is, which I don't blame you. However, they're totally different, like how you have to leave your vantage point in order to restart a generator. Honestly, if you ask me, this campaign isn't that bad, but it definitely isn't what I was hoping for. I was hoping for a full-size, 5-level campaign, with the Last Stand being like a death trap that you're not actually supposed to survive. I kind of was hoping for more interesting environments, but I guess the fate of the map was already sealed by it being tied into the Last Stand, which is basically just a shorter Blood Harvest crossed over with Crash Course. I like the burning forest area, as well as the beginning with the water that slows you down. It makes for interesting encounters in which you need to navigate across the river using rocks and the likes to not get slowed down. It's satisfying because it rewards good movement and positioning. However, I find the junkyard similar to the sacrifice, and I'm just kinda indifferent about it. I do like the lighthouse, but the fact that you're not allowed to collect the cans until after the first tank is killed sort of feels like a waste of time. The first tank is very manageable, but collecting the gas cans in a public lobby was quite the task. It'd be nice if I could just collect the cans right after you start the panic event, and then you can save time if you're willing to challenge yourself and summon the 2 tanks while that first tank is spawning, kind of like how you can do that in the sacrifice. For my money, there's some better custom campaigns that have existed for years, like Suicide Blitz, Die Scraper Redux, I Hate Mountains, and those exist on the workshop that you could download right now. So while not bad, the campaign falls a bit flat for me for being the most advertised selling point of this update. Considering the tagline is that after years of development, yet the map devs have stated that they started working on the map in late April. So next we'll talk about the weapons. While not new per se, this update brings the limited Counter-Strike source weapons that came with the German release available for everyone. So this change brings 5 different weapons into the mix. The MP5, which is a tier 1 SMG, which I've always kind of liked. It's got the same DPS as the unsilenced SMG at 320 per second, while being more accurate. However, the silenced Uzi does 1 more damage per shot, giving it 400 damage per second and a higher ammo count. Therefore, it's a decent side grade to the Uzi, but still possibly worse than the MAC-10. Next, we'll talk about the Krieg. It's almost identical to the M16, same rate of fire, clip size, DPS, but it comes with a longer reload time, although it is more accurate. You can also use the scope to slow the rate of fire and become even more accurate, so it's a nice hybrid between the SCAR and the M16, and I think it's a welcome addition and a good side grade to the ARs. However, I'll probably still stick with my AK-47. Now we'll talk about the sniper rifles. Easily the worst weapons in the game. The Scout shoots 105 damage a shot, the AWP 115 damage a shot. They shoot incredibly slow, not even 1 shot per second. They do high damage, but you're dealing with large quantities of zombies at all times, so there's no reason to take such a significant hit in your DPS. Maybe if you could 1-shot kill a charger, but you can't. It takes longer to kill a tank with the sniper rifles than it does the single default pistol. I'm not saying that they have to be meta changing, but they're not even in the same ballpark. The hunting rifle and the assault rifles are over here playing baseball, and the AWP and the Scout are just shoveling sand into their mouth. Which, speaking of shoveling, we got 2 new melee weapons, the pitchfork and the shovel. They sound kinda weird to me, but I'm assuming that's just because I'm not used to them yet. They seem okay to me, but they're not as satisfying as the melee weapons that already exist in the game. And also, in addition with the CSS weapons that got added, they added the Counter-Strike knife, which, I don't know, I'm not used to it. It feels like it has a shorter reach, even though I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It's okay. I like it better than the pitchfork and the shovel at least. I don't have anything bad or good to say, I'm just truly indifferent about these new melee weapons. So next up, we have a bunch of new survival maps. These I feel pretty good about. I enjoy a decent amount of them. Some of the clipping feels a bit lazy, and some maps kinda suck to play. However, in general, I feel quite positive about it. A lot of the survival maps kind of already existed in the game, but were never actually accessible without the console, and now they are. I kind of forgot how interesting survival was. However, much like everything in this update, it isn't without flaw. In addition, they fixed a lot of invulnerable spots, or jaw spots as they're more commonly known. Most maps that could be broken with boosts have had their grenade launchers removed, even though these out-of-bound boosts haven't worked since they patched it with Endless Spit, like in Concert and Plantation. The worst offender is this out-of-bounds exploit on Dark Carnival Motel. Before, you could glitch out of the map to the safe room. This was interesting but not game-breaking because Infected would still reach you. Additionally, there's no supplies other than a magnum in the safe room, so it isn't all too viable. There were ways to smuggle additional weapons and supplies, but with the setup time it costs to do it, it was impractical, but also should be rewarded if you were to take the time to do this. I easily spent a bunch of hours messing around with this and made friends do this exploit. It's not like they're resetting leaderboards, so really what do they accomplish in patching this particular exploit? It was always fun to show my friends the subsequent maps with no infected, and we could make our way to the secret roller coaster survival map, which, for whatever reason, wasn't implemented in this update. So now that we have more survival maps, this pairs well with Versus Survival being a home screen game mode. I expect this to go the way of Realism Versus or Scavenge, where it's not totally dead, but definitely not booming. I think it's fast-paced fun. While the game is generally survivor favored, it's fun to whittle down the survivors as the infected, and also try and be resource efficient. A few gripes I have about this is that some maps fucking blow for this game mode, like Death Toll Drains, and the setup timer usually ticks all the way down from 90 seconds, which is kind of a lot of time. That's like 6 minutes per game if it's 2 rounds each side. Regardless, I'm having a lot of fun in Versus Survival. It's not the same commitment as a full-length Versus match. I'm interested to see how the game mode progresses and the map metas that people create. At least that's assuming that people will play them enough to be able to develop metas in the first place. Finally, we have quality of life changes, with more infected ladders, props, and such for infected on I believe all maps. Not much to say about it, other than the fact that they're well appreciated. Not the most impactful, but they don't go unnoticed. What does go unnoticed for me is the animations and some of the unused dialogue. Frankly, I'm not sure which animations got updated. I'm pretty sure the hunting rifle, but other than that, I'm not certain. Which I guess means that they're pretty quality if I can't tell which animations are different. Some of the voice lines seem to be weighted to trigger higher than others. I feel like I hear Nick complaining about friendly fire and the size of the tank constantly. However, I've never heard most of these voice lines, so it's fun to hear them for now. Perhaps their novelty will wear off, but for now I don't mind. All in all, I'm happy with this update. While not perfect, I'm happy to see a breath of fresh air into this game. It's really a fantastic game and the community has done a great job of keeping it alive. I've recently stumbled upon the competitive scene, so I'm interested to see if the MP5 or the weaker sniper rifles might get added to the list of legal weapons. Probably not. But so far, I'm gonna rate this update a decent 7. It may not have been my perfect update, but the high number of games being played, players playing the game, the addition of content, and the exposure the game has been getting has been great. I hope Valve sees this as a success, so they'll make Left 4 Dead 3 with VR support. Actually, I didn't get the Good Guy Nick achievement when it was free to play, so I'm gonna actually bump this down to a 6 out of 10. Okay, bye.